Introduced in 2003, the Infiniti FX has taken its rightful place in the niche of expensive quasi-sport crossovers. After the debut of the second generation, the first FX became quite popular in the aftermarket. If you are not interested in the process of opening the patient, then the conclusion looks like this. The FX has two weak points: brake discs and radiators. However, there are a number of sores, among them those that fit the definition of childhood diseases, and those that fall into the category of senile problems. The designers of Infiniti, an elite division of Nissan, created this crossover according to the classic scheme: a longitudinally mounted engine and the main drive to the rear axle. Moreover, in the younger version, FX35, the Atessa ETS all-wheel drive system, where the front wheels are connected by an electromagnetic clutch after the drive axle slips, may well be absent. But through official channels, cars with the 4X two-wheel formula were not delivered to us. They don't argue about design, as well as about tastes, so we'll limit ourselves to a comment. The car is large on the outside, but small on the inside, plus it doesn't have a good overview. The model was produced with two engines. The FX35 version is equipped with a 3.5-liter VQ35DE V6 petrol with 280 horsepower, with a FX45 V-shaped 8 VK45D 4.5L, 315 horsepower. 6. A unit proven over the years, installed on many Infiniti and Nissan cars, but the V8 can also be seen under the hood of fresh models. Little is known about negative motors. Over time, plastic valve covers warp, and then oil accumulates in the candle wells, which leads to unstable operation of the ignition system. But oil in the wells is also one of the symptoms of wear of the cylinder piston group. By the way, oil waste, which is generally not typical for these engines, can reach up to a liter per thousand during aggressive driving. It is not difficult to guess what oil starvation leads to. Oil losses also occur through the rubber seal of the oil cooler. Of the engine attachments, only the air conditioning compressor clutch lit up with problems, which is wedged from dirt and rust. As for the timing drive, it is chain, almost eternal. Among the engine compartment units in the area of special attention is the radiator of the cooling system, which often comes off the upper plastic tank. A rare crossover that has spent a couple of years in Russia has avoided its replacement. It is believed that regular cleaning of dirt can extend the life of the radiator. This procedure is not easy, because access to it is closed by the radiator of the air conditioner. If the radiator is leaking, then by the time the instruments show overheating and the driver notices this, the probability of getting behavior of the blockheads is very significant. On average, repairs will cost 100,000 rubles, and, as a rule, after it, cars are put up for sale, because the consequences of overheating and restoration work can come out after a while. The transmission of the model is only a 5-speed hydromechanical automatic with the possibility of manual shifting. For instances of the first years of production, serious damage to the boxes was not isolated, and they also happened with a small run. Of course, high mileage increases the likelihood of problems with this unit. External causes of gearbox failures include cracked automatic transmission oil hoses. They go to an oil cooler built into the main radiator of the cooling system, so at every MOT inspection of the hoses is required. Once again, we note, it is not worth hoping that after the repair the box will be reliable, like a Kalashnikov assault rifle. But the gear selector, which does not want to be transferred to manual mode, is repaired quickly and inexpensively. The reason is usually that the driver pulled the lever very hard. Of the troubles that got into the statistics, we also note the front drive shaft, and only in the FX45, and the electromagnetic clutch for connecting the front axle. There is also wear on the rear CV joints, but here everything is clear as daylight. A powerful heavy machine, with sharp starts, puts a lot of pressure on this node. The running gear is durable. In the McPherson front suspension, only the stabilizer struts require attention, and even then infrequently, they last 60 to 80,000 kilometers. In the rear multi-link suspension, all the details are completely long playing. Knocking in the steering rack is not always a reason to change it. You have to come to terms with the fact that this is a design feature. Reiki leaks are practically non-existent. The low service life of wheel bearings is associated with the profile and size of the wheels. After all, rollers on 20-inch wheels are, well, extremely low profile, and for broken roads it is better to change them to 18-inch ones. The real weak point is the brakes. Those who drive a little more actively than the textbook old church woman change brake discs due to a strong beating at every MOT, that is, once every 10,000 kilometers. It is curious that for America, with its strict speed limits, this problem is not typical. One solution for relatively calm drivers is the installation of tuning discs. True, they cost 26,800 rubles. For a couple against 7,000 rubles. For the original, well, the most active drivers will be saved by full-fledged sports brake systems. With the electrical part, things are going well, especially against the background of some competitors with their diseases from the Woe from Wit series. It is only known that the electrical wiring located in the area of /U200B/U200B battery niche oxidizes over time. Also, complaints about the smell of rotten eggs in the cabin are associated with this niche. After all, air is taken from there. Bi-xenon headlights can lose their tightness even from a slight impact. They begin to sweat, then the accumulated condensate flows into the niche where the headlight xenon ignition unit is located and finishes it off. In principle, the ignition unit is supplied as a spare part, but it is unrealistic to seal the headlight, so the assembly part will have to be changed. The old age of the music system is manifested in the fact that it stops reading discs. It happens that over time the driver's seat becomes loose. In some cases, play appears in the steering column due to a device that lifts the steering wheel up for ease of entry/disembarkation. And finally, so that the above does not create a misconception about the model, let's clarify that, in general, among the competitors of this premium segment, the Infiniti FX is quite good. It just requires timely prevention,